World War I. World War I, also known as the Great War, lasted from 28th of July 1914 to 11th November 1918, was a global conflict fought between two coalitions, the Allies and the Central Powers. Fighting took place throughout Europe, the Middle East, Africa, the Pacific, and parts of Asia. One of the deadliest wars in history, it resulted in an estimated 9 million soldiers dead and 23 million wounded, plus another 5 million civilian deaths from various causes. Millions more died as a result of genocide, and the war was a major factor in the 1918 Spanish flu pandemic. In early 1917, the United States entered the war on the side of the Allies, and later the same year, the Bolsheviks seized power in the Russian October Revolution, making peace with the Central Powers in early 1918. Germany launched an offensive in the West in March 1918, and despite initial success, it left the German army exhausted and demoralized. A successful Allied counter-offensive later that year caused a collapse of the German front line. By the end of 1918, Bulgaria, the Ottoman Empire, and Austria-Hungary agreed to armistices with the Allies, leaving Germany isolated. Facing revolution at home and with his army on the verge of mutiny, Kaiser Wilhelm II abdicated on 9 November. Top 10 facts about World War I. 1. The war started on 28th July 1914. World War I started on 28th July 1914 and would carry on for the next 4 years. 2. The war ended on 11th November 1918. World War I finally ended in 1918. 3. The war started when Archduke Franz Ferdinand was assassinated. It all started when Archduke Franz Ferdinand of Austria and his pregnant wife Sophie were assassinated. Franz Ferdinand was the heir to the throne of Austria-Hungary. Austria-Hungary blamed Serbia for this and so declared war. Other countries then joined in. This is when countries from across the world made a pact to help each other in the war. These countries also wanted to fight to make sure they kept their territories safe. 4. The war was against the Allies and Central Powers. During the war, countries made a pact to help each other. The two sides were called the Allies and the Central Powers. The countries on each side were the Allies, the Entente Powers, Great Britain, France, Belgium, Russia, and the USA. Central Powers, Germany, Austria, Hungary, Bulgaria, and Turkey. 5. Soldiers lived in trenches. Soldiers lived in trenches. These were ditches that they had to dig out of the ground. The conditions were terrible, and many soldiers got ill from living there. This is where they lived and tried to make advances on the opposition. The opposition also had their own trenches. The land between the two was called no man's land. This is where battles took place. It also had lots of barbed wire and sometimes landmines, which were very dangerous. 6. There were lots of major battles. A lot of the time, the two sides would fight from across the trenches. However, there were some major battles during the war. Some of these were Battle of Tannenberg first, Battle of Marne, Battle of Gallipoli, Battle of Verdun, Battle of Jutland, Battle of Somme. 7. The war finished when Germany signed the armistice. The war finished when Germany signed something called an armistice. This is basically an agreement for peace and to stop the war immediately. They agreed to do this as they realized they wouldn't be able to win the war. This was down to a lot of different things, including the USA turning against them. Their navy was on strike and the opposition had a strong fight. 8. The Allies won World War I. After a long 4 years at war, the Allies won the war. The Allies were also known as the Entente Powers. Everyone celebrated in the street when they heard the news. 9. The Victoria Cross Award was given to war heroes. The Victoria Cross Award is awarded to the armed forces. It is awarded for extreme bravery. There were 628 awarded during World War I, so as you can probably tell, there were a lot of heroes. William Hackett won the award for not leaving an injured colleague behind whilst they were on a tunneling mission. Noel Chavas won 2 medals for his bravery in rescuing soldiers from no man's land. 10. Remembrance Day is on 11th of November each year. Each year on 11th of November it is Remembrance Day. This is when everyone wears a red poppy. This is a day where we remember everyone in the armed forces who fought and lost their lives during the war.